vehicle around 1969. Maybe 70.
Hey, call this meeting to order. Any additions to the agenda?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. Can I get any pecuniary interest?
Need approval of the.
Oh, the approval of the agenda. Yeah, any approval for the agenda? Brent, thank you. Any pecuniary interest? Seeing none. Can I get an approval of the minutes for December 19th? Okay, the December 2019 sales and production report. Jack?
Okay, I think I sent to you guys what the sales were for the year. I believe, just give me a second here, I'll pull it up.
Yeah, that was under your email, not Connie's.
That come from,
Yeah.
that come because I put that together for you guys with the hydro stuff. Give me 1 minute here. This
Oh.
Jack
one.
Rosser, hydro payment.
Word.
That's what it's under that one?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if we're looking at, I also sent you the comparison. I think that's really the most important thing to look at, the spreadsheet. But for the December, we made a little over $28,000 on the month, 28,245. The total sales for the year was just about 260,000, 259,888. We were down. Our budgeted amount for the year is normally I budget 375,000. So we lost about 115,000 thereabouts in sales. 2018, if we just look back at that, in 2018 we made 377,000. 2017 we made a lot more because of high water, but the water we had this year was similar to 2018. So because of units being down for repairs and because I had to run them limited in the spring because of the issues we had, we suffered, we lost about $115,000 off of our sales. Any questions on that?
I had one.
Yeah.
Although we recognize obviously you were running limited and a lot of repairs, but some of those repairs, do you believe that they're going to prove out to increase our hydro output for the 2020 year?
I would say the majority of the repairs will have give us an increase.
Okay.
Just in replacing the cavitational problems in unit 2 and 3. I see right now, it's hard to tell, but I'm looking at right now, I have enough water to have 2 units running. And with 2 units running, I can now get those 2 units back, both of them running up to about 240 kilowatts, which 240 kilowatts each, which is prior to this, we were in around 220. So, and the same type of conditions. So another thing that is a positive, when we were this summer, I also did the tail raise measurements. I have to drain the tail raise, get that done so that I could get inlet gates or tail raise gates. When we did that, we noticed that there was a considerable amount of debris that was in the tail raise. And I was able to coordinate with Mary Lines that we were able to get that. Since we were there, she gave me authority to get the backhoe operator in and clean it out. And just by cleaning that out, there was, I'd say about 3.5 to 4 tandem loads of material we took out. And that was in the.
You said, I thought you meant pickup trucks.
No, tandem loads.
Oh, I totally misunderstood that when you told me the first time.
No, like I can
Tandem loads.
I can show you the debris, right?
Oh, well, you did. We saw the debris, but I didn't realize it
The
equated
mass,
to that.
how big it was, yeah.
Wow.
And that's what we hauled away, and that has increased. The most increase I've seen was in unit number 3, because unit number 3 was impacted from the debris.
Just to clarify, you used that person's name, Mary Lines. You just want to tell
Yeah.
people who are watching who that actually is,
Oh
Jack.
yeah, Mary, she's the person that I consult with at MNRF for getting permits and stuff like that. She's my contact there. And
Okay.
by sending her the information that I'd seen when we were in there and explaining to her that we'd be only using flat shovel loader, so there's no teeth on it.
Mhm.
So there's no breaking of the debris in the tail race section. We were just actually dragging the material that was there, taking it out. And that material came from, if you remember, when we had the flood, that was 2017, when I said we lost that retaining wall.
Yes,
A lot of that retaining wall, some of it I had taken out 2 years ago with when Paul had his people came in and cleaned it out, Mr. Kilby. But the problem with that is we were not allowed to draw or drain the water out of the tail race section because we didn't have a permit for that.
Okay.
So the operator was sort of reaching blindly, which is pretty hard to get material out when you're reaching 12 feet of water. And so,
And another clarification of tail races on the backside of the dam for anybody that wants to know and has no way for that material to ever enter the dam.
no, it was material on the backside of the dam, it's material behind the floor. That's, if people have realized, there used to be a retaining wall that ran between the tail raise system, or tail raise portion and the main dam.
And the river.
There was, but that wall got washed out in 2017 when we had a problem. We couldn't lift our gate, and we were forced to take logs out closer to the dam to stay within the Boncha River Management Plan. And just the force of the water just took, because that wall was just loose material that was packed up there. It wasn't formed or. So that's another thing that we can talk about at a later date, but once we do get some funds in place, there'd probably be a good idea to build a permanent wall along there, a concrete wall, 4 or 5 feet high, that runs about 120 feet. That'll keep the water out of your tail raise, because if you can keep the water out of your tail raise longer, your units will run more efficient, thus giving you more power as they go through, right?
You think, Jack, talking nice to Mary, if we were down the road, saying we get along so well, that maybe further down on a dry year, we can lower extend the tail race further down the river, because if the tail race then goes up like that,
Well, that would take,
we'd have to,
yeah,
have to break out the river bottom.
but the thing, if you remember, Merv, we had some consultants from Montreal in, and they looked at that. And right when I started on, remember? There was a group to come down, and their analysis, maybe we could look at it again, but their analysis at the time, the cost to do it wouldn't benefit what we're looking for.
Yeah.
Because we're so far away, right? They were more concerned with that 4.5 foot drop that was forcing the water back out.
Yeah.
Right? So, but it's something we can always revisit if we want.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to touch on the difference in revenue. And
So-
it's not only because of the 2 months we were off that we lost revenue, it's because of the months in the spring, because of the impact to the units. They couldn't run. One unit had to be shut off because it was leaking, and the other one was only running at 60%.
In our most crucial time of
Yeah.
production, for
Yeah.
sure. And essentially too, back to the tail race, the more, from what I gathered there, Jack, is the more efficiently you can get rid of the water from the backside, the more efficient you can get your water.
More
coming
water to
through.
get in the front side.
Yeah, the quicker the water moves away.
Yeah.
Ideally, you'd like a tail raise that comes and drops just like this, so it drops away, right?
Yeah.
Because if the water backs up, of course, it puts pressure on and your units aren't as efficient turning around, right? The whole thing you want to do to get these efficient is get the water coming and going through as fast as possible with no changes in and we have some changes, and that's just the way the unit was modified in 2002. Instead of, prior to the modification, the units were vertical mount units. In the old powerhouse, the water came in, it was at the same level, and then it would go out. The modification, or in 2002, what they did is they put in 3 horizontal units. But to put the 3 horizontal units in, they actually moved them farther back, and they put them down 4 feet. So what they've actually done is reduced the head by 4 feet, which has the negative impact
Oh,
on your unit. Because when you look at it, where we're very close to the same amount of vertical head from tail race as what they have in Douglas. We have 750 kilowatts. They can do over a meg.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy, yeah,
But it's just the difference in, you know what I mean?
yeah.
So, but
I am though happy to hear that some of these repairs will make us more hydro. And I'd love to see, you know, knowing the 2 crucial months are coming up, that will be very interesting for this board,
Well,
I
yeah.
think.
like, just hazarding a guess right now, I would think with these modifications, and if not, unit number 1 runs as well as number 2 and 3 do, I don't have enough water to put them all on, but I would think we're probably gonna be close to generating 670, 680 kilowatts an hour, which is something that we've never done before.
Great.
So the highest I've ever got it before was 650. But, you know, so, but we'll see. Time will tell. And it's, the whole problem you have is with those 3 units with the intake gates, your vortex that you're creating, there's not enough, you know, it's another design. But anyways, we can only work with what we have.
That's
We
right.
can't change, you know, so. But yeah, so that's the sales for the year. I don't know if you guys have any other questions on sales production? No.
Better than last.
Uh,
Plant status?
Plant status, okay, yeah. Let me just go back. Plant status, currently right now, we have enough water that I'm running 2 units full operation. And so that means they're generating about 460 kilowatts, the 2 units when they're running. And the 3rd unit comes on for a couple hours and then shuts off. So we're running at, if I look at right now, I'm just going to give you a typical, let me go up. What we made, for example, with our 3 units right now, we're running close to about 10,000 to 11,000 kilowatts a day. So if we're looking at 11,000 kilowatts a day, the rough numbers, we're generating.
Jack, just 1 second. Sandra, do you want to come up here and sit down?
Oh, will I hear better?
I think so. Come on over. Sorry about that, Jack.
Yeah. So that 11,000 kilowatts a day, using our losses and the power to operate, that's close to $1,300 a day in revenue right now.
Sorry, how much shot
1,300
a day?
in revenue.
All right,
For this, now, we just started to run that. The first part of this month, we were running closer to 8,200 kilowatts. So the last couple of days since the melt and that, we've started to see some more water flow. I've done if the water continues where it's at now, and I see no reason why it won't, for the month of January, we'll be pretty close to $36,000 in revenue for this month.
well, that's good.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Wow,
yeah.
So up another 5 from last.
yeah,
So, you know, so that's, and then
so
as we get into.
these warmer temperatures then, like this freeze thaw that we've got going on, this is actually benefiting us quite handily.
Well, it brings the water down, right? And
Right.
You can see, when it cools down at night, you can see the units reduce, the water flow
Right.
reduces, right? So like there's a whole talking to power producers stuff, there's a whole concept of peak and non-peak. Because you
Yeah.
get paid more for peak time than you do non-peak, right? So there's the whole concept is when you have quiet at night, you tend to build more head on your head pond. And then when it's during the day, you flush it through, right?
Right, and I mean,
And
just
You get a
get
better
paid-
bang for
You
your
get
buck.
paid more in peak time, right?
just
So it's
looking at
how,
the
it's,
weather network, I
Yeah.
mean, we're in the ones,
Yeah.
zeros.
Yeah.
So,
so, you know, it's, and the thing is, if you can get rid of some of this melt now,
yeah,
it's less melt in the spring that goes over the
of
wall,
course,
right?
yeah,
Because the thing is, in the spring, no matter what, you're spilling and you're just not getting nothing for it. Because
That's
it's going
right.
over the wall, right?
you're just
Where-
dumping water.
Whereas with now, with the ice on top, you know, it's apt to spill. Right? 'Cause
Right.
the ice holds it and brings it up. And so this type of weather is ideal for it.
That's why I checked the weather network,
Yeah.
because I knew that we were sort of, actually Terry and I were talking about this outside. The next couple of weeks are all sort of, the -2 to +2. And so I learned so much on this board, by the way. So knowing that that's helping us.
Yeah.
And I mean, 36,000 for January, that's gotta be,
No, that's about average.
oh, it is, okay, but
It's really about
I
average.
shut down the other one, but
But it's really about, like, if you look at, last
2018.
January 18th,
Yeah.
we did 40.
right.
So-
Sorry, I
so-
shut it down
yeah,
before I said
So,
that.
so it's
I'm
about
not sure.
average, right, for
Okay.
this time of year. And the thing is, if you have anyways, go ahead, Tim.
No, what I was just gonna say is last winter, we didn't have any thaw whatsoever from November till the spring.
No, we
So
did
if we
not.
were generating 40 last year at this time, there's definitely not as much happening now.
There was more water coming in the fall last year than what we
Okay.
have now, right?
Yeah.
You think.
But I was saying, like, we didn't have any above freezing temperatures at
No,
all,
no,
basically for 3
No,
months.
but there was
straight,
more,
right? So-
there was more water coming in, because the
Okay.
thing you gotta remember last fall, too, remember I touched
Oh, it was
on
wet, for sure.
last fall, we didn't have frost.
Yeah.
What happens
That's
now, when you
right.
have frost,
Yeah.
all these small little creeks that feed this
Yeah.
are now limited.
Yeah.
That's why all of a sudden, when we can see when all of a sudden there's no frost for a couple of days or whatever, you get a huge influx.
Okay,
And we think, well, it has to do with pulling logs. It's not. It's all of a
No.
sudden, all these little feeders are broke loose.
Oh, yeah, right.
Because right now with this, they'd be sort of shut down, right? The feeders shut down. The small.
Ostensibly, they
Yeah,
should be.
Yeah,
right?
but they would.
They
But
should
you know
be
what?
frozen solid.
Whereas last year they weren't shut down because there was no frost, right? There
Right.
was snow and they could still, there was, so it's one of those things you
A lot
can throw it all up.
a
in the
lot of
air.
variables.
Yeah, but you can throw it all up in the air, but if you sit down and look at the weather, you can understand where it's going.
Yeah.
So,
Well, this is why I brought up flood mitigation during our committee meeting, is that I think we better be ready. And I can't think of anybody better to ready us than you, because you did it in 2019.
Yeah. well, all I can do is look at what the numbers are telling me, right? And then and if you look at, I don't know if you guys look at the stuff that Sean puts up for the weekly water reports.
I haven't lately.
But if
no.
you look at for last week, there's 13 logs in Round Lake. And with that little bit of water, Round Lake climbed. But if you look at Golden Lake, it climbed quite a bit more. Right? And that's why I was talking to Tim. It's past the point
Yes,
of getting logs out this year,
Yeah,
because
I-
all you're gonna do is shoot Golden Lake like this, right? And you
Right.
can't do that.
yeah, no.
The time to take that out is what, as Sean has in his plan, is September.
September, yeah.
After the long weekend in September, you start draining Round Lake. That way it feeds into Golden Lake, which is more like a saucer. It has a chance to get through Golden Lake, and then all the logs are out of Golden Lake.
And we do have a buffer by doing it that way in the spring, shall we see a
Yeah.
overnight temperature
Yeah.
rise.
Well, then you can hold it in Round Lake. right?
Absolutely have a buffer zone.
But
We
that was
lost our
also,
buffer.
that was the recommendation that came out of that very first committee meeting. To say October is even too late. Everybody at that table agreed
Well,
after the long weekend in
Well,
September.
Still
well,
better
the
than
problem
December.
when making it October is you're putting a lot of strain on Golden Lake. If we get an early winter, it's stuck in Golden Lake.
Right,
You don't want it stuck in Golden Lake.
No.
You want it through the system and gone.
right.
And that's the thing, right? So, but that's up to the powers to be to determine that. So. All right,
Okay, update from your SAC meeting?
well, I was just gonna touch on a little more. We promised Debbie last time when we were here about the invoices and stuff.
Okay.
Now that we have the
Absolutely.
invoices, I'll arrange for, I guess Connie can forward it to her.
Mhm.
And then we also have a report that when they did the investigation, and we can send you the report.
I think that the press and the public deserve everything we have. Right.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Rick.
I was wondering, I should have maybe mentioned one addition to the agenda, talk a bit about our financial situation right now,
Sure.
somewhere along the line.
Well, and there is a letter in our package
Yeah.
from the seniors requesting,
Yeah, well, I
because-
just like to go back a little bit and point out things that haven't happened because of the loss of revenue. For
Yeah.
instance, we haven't paid down any loans.
Yeah.
And the interest on those loans are accruing for next year. They're not staying the same. The interest is put against the loan.
I'm sure Valley is fine with that.
Well,
Yeah, so,
that's the thing, right? We're like, where's that? And now we're in a situation where we have to go and get a loan to pay for the repairs,
yeah.
you know? So now we have another loan that we're trying
And for
to.
instance, water and sewer is not gonna get their 100,000 this year.
That's right.
Well, or 2019, maybe 2020.
Uh,
You know.
We have this other loan payment, but that's up to the board to
The other loan,
decide.
but yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No, what I see from our bills going out for the next little bit, there's not gonna be any excess cash flow coming from EGC.
Well, we gotta do those wicket gates, right?
Absolutely.
Because like, not wicket gates, I mean the tail race gates. Now that I've got the information, it's been gone out to 3 contractors. They're giving us a price, the best price. I'll bring it back to you guys hopefully within the next 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay.
Then we can go ahead, get them to make it, and then we can put it in during low water
Mhm.
this year.
Yeah,
Because the whole thing with that is if we would have had those gates, we might have suffered 1 unit down, but we wouldn't have lost 115 grand,
right.
right? We might have lost 1 month or a couple of weeks because you could isolate the unit and repair it. There was no way to even, when we did the repair in low water, just to clarify, we couldn't even repair it in low water. Our contractor had to go and rent a bladder that we put in and we inflated the bladder. Because even with the water being as low as it was last year, when we go to take off below the wicket gates where the runner chest is, we would have flooded the bottom of the powerhouse. There would have been 5-6 feet of water in there.
Oh, my gosh.
So we had to put a bladder in each unit as we were doing it to do the repairs. So we had to feed a line through, hook onto the bladder, bring the bladder in, fill it up with air, and then
It was a big deal.
while the bladder is inflated, you have somebody working with that. So, you know what I mean? So we had to move the bladder to each unit. So, and that's the thing, there was only one bladder we could find that size. You can find 3-foot bladders, but you could only find one that was 48 inches, right? And their cavity is 44, so you needed a 48-inch bladder, 2 and 3.
Does anybody want to touch on some of those numbers, what it cost?
I think we're gonna give them to Deb, but if you want them on Hootie, by all means.
So the bill for LWMS, which stands for,
William Little.
Yes.
Yeah.
and that was for basically the repair of the
Okay.
the units.
Yeah.
I have here for 127,589.78.
That was the repair of all 3 units. That was putting new bearings in, that was putting the fixing the tail raise, or measuring the tail raise as well. So it was, and the thing you gotta also remember in here, and this is you did the annual maintenance.
Right.
So
So-
we weren't on the hook for annual maintenance this year. So
But the other check for 50-odd thousand,
that was
that was the previous,
no,
correct?
that 50,000, that was for steel logs.
Yeah, that's
That's what I mean. But we had waited to pay them for those, correct?
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
that's not included in this one.
No, I just, they were
Yeah.
2 different
Yeah.
incidents, yeah.
Have the steel logs been paid for, or we're gonna pay them next?
no, they're already paid for.
So that's.
Will carried us for over a year.
I know.
Exactly, that's what I'm
So-
All
saying.
I'm looking at
Yeah.
I'm looking at the tax man coming.
Yeah.
As the tax man in 2019, we will not be paying $20,000 income tax. I will guarantee you that.
No, well, I think Connie told me this, we'd actually be getting some HST back.
It's back, yeah.
Ooh,
Well,
yeah, no, I know being
That's
in
how bad it
business,
is.
yeah,
when
that's
you're
how bad
getting
it is.
HST back, you didn't have a very good go.
That's
Exactly.
where we are, so, you know what I mean?
We have to look at 2020.
So there was that cost, and then there was another small bill invoice, I think, for $1,200 or something for the inspection in June. Is that on there?
I don't see that.
But-
I didn't see that either.
That was for a daily inspection, I think. He come down. and
Oh,
did
that's the 11:30?
Yeah, 11:30.
Okay, yeah.
Come down in June to take a look at it, and that's when he detailed quite a bit of his report that he generated.
Okay.
The report that we'll give you with photos and stuff on it, so. But all in all, he treated us fairly, we're very, very well.
Definitely.
It costs more than that.
I put it to, I showed the invoice and stuff to a different producer, and he couldn't believe it. In his mind, it was been 3 times that.
What did I
We
say?
did well to get that done for the repair we did. I'm happy with it.
What did I say at our last meeting? I had 400,000 in my head.
Yeah.
That's, I was bracing myself. So to me, this is, you know, we're so thankful to Will. I think that this was very fair. And if it included our maintenance, then
Yeah.
that's
Well, that's what I
fantastic,
mean, because
right?
when he was in there, I had him do maintenance on the unit.
Yeah. why
So,
not?
so would it be worthwhile to give Debbie a good ballpark by just even using last year's averages of lost revenue plus the 127 to kind of give her a total loss of revenue down?
Well, if you-
Would that be
Oh,
okay to
an
do? Just
overarching.
an overall,
Yeah, yeah.
overall,
Two
you know,
eighty-five.
Yeah.
a rough guesstimation then, you know, of what we went down. Because don't forget that lost revenue is gone too,
Well,
so that's all part of the parcel.
You're almost at 3,
So,
So, you know,
not quite.
no, you're at, say, if you take this 127 and then you add on 1,300, so say 130 for the repairs.
and then plus the
And then-
downtime from when they went down to,
Yeah, and then the loss in revenue compared to 2018 was, what, to say, 115,000?
Yep.
So now you're looking at 250, around 250,000, which is.
Substantial.
and if
That's what I said.
And if
before.
we can't give a lot of money in the next little while to people that are needing it, there's a good reason why. You know, and that's, I just want to make sure that everybody knows why it has to be.
So our policy has always been that we don't donate taxpayers' money.
No.
So this is where the letter, just for you guys that didn't know, that's why that particular letter was actually sent to EGC and Bonachir Valley. Because what the previous board did was much like giving water and sewer a nice healthy check. We felt that maybe that this was a charitable donation from EGC to the senior center.
And it shows being good corporate citizens. And equally as important, if the township was donated, it wouldn't be a tax write-off, but ETC could use it. as a
That's
tax
right.
write-off.
I don't
The tax
really need
man
much
coming.
this here.
No, you won't.
I don't really need much of a tax, but anyways. So, yeah, there's something on the table for you guys to discuss on that, I guess, whatever way you want to do it.
Well, I think maybe we're going to have to discuss it in conjunction with our own budget this year.
Okay.
And I think council can make a decision. Do we change our, you know, when I say we don't donate money, obviously we give money to the Horticultural Society, but that is. that's for the
Beautify the township.
for the beautification of our township instead of utilizing our staff. So I think that maybe the seniors are just gonna have to wait. Obviously, we're gonna try and do budget in February. So I think that can be a conversation
Well,
then, if that's
yeah.
all right with everyone.
Because they're actually looking for more this year.
Yeah.
I recognize that. And actually, I was warned about it. I was
They-
warned.
They came last year and we just said we didn't have.
Is what I was gonna say is just keep
Give the
status,
regular
I was gonna say just keep status quo with the EGC and then the remaining balance that they're requesting, put that into our budget.
I'm not sure that EGC even has the 5,000.
Yeah, it's true.
So again, I think that maybe during budget, we can break into a quick, if it's all right with you, El Presidente, break into a quick EGC meeting and
at the
figure
same
out.
time.
you know.
Absolutely, no, that'll work good then, and then we have our numbers ahead of us for what we have to work with.
And
And then we can give a realistic answer at that time.
And
that's
Totally.
what I
I
think.
can have a budget ready hopefully by then for EGC.
That would be great.
You know,
Yes.
Because there is some stuff, like I said, we can't, tail race gates, as far as I'm concerned, they're a must. If we
Agreed.
don't do that, we're only defeating ourselves if we think it's gonna
Well,
happen again.
And if I can kind of wrap it up, it's when a plane goes down, the mother puts the mask on her face first so she can look after the kids. And it's basically the same thing here. We gotta look after the dam before we can start looking after the residents. So
Unfortunately, you're correct.
it's just the way it has to be
Yeah,
done.
so there's
So the gates and the catwalk.
gates, catwalk, putting in the logs has to be done. So
Mhm.
that's gonna, because of our design, that means I need a crane to lift over 100 feet.
Mhm.
That's not cheap.
It's always a crowd pleaser though.
It's a crowd pleaser, but
It
it's,
really is. When
but-
you
but-
get people all standing on the bridge or standing near EGC, it looked like we were doing fireworks
Yeah.
that one day.
yeah,
There were so many people standing on the bridge.
so, but because there's 15 logs and they're substantially, they're steel, they're hollow, but they're still quite heavy.
They're still steel,
And
yeah.
while we're there, we'll see how it goes, but if he's taking some off, he may as well take some back with him, some of the old logs,
Right.
so it keeps the deck
Pick
instead
them
of
off the deck,
going
pick
back.
them off the deck of the dam, or
Yeah.
you butter it up.
Yeah.
But you don't have to cut them up and carry them
Yeah.
off other ways.
Well, that's
Two
the
birds
thing.
at once is always the way to do it.
The only other way is cut them up and now this time of year, put them on the ice and then move them around.
The ice
But
Doug was catching.
Send them to Douglas.
Send them rang through.
Yeah, so, but,
But
yeah,
if you could have your budget done at the same time that we're doing budget deliberations,
mhm,
that would really be handy.
mhm.
Yeah, and just a word of advice from El Presidente, don't go first.
Yeah, don't go first,
I'm
no.
not gonna go first.
No.
It is what it is.
Oh, fire chief,
Oh,
we
yeah,
felt that last year.
yeah.
Then we got tired, so everybody, by the time we got to the end, whoever that was, and I think it might have been Kevin, it was like, I don't know.
But he also almost had a heart attack and he thought he was have to look at that other items in the budget, as a budgetary thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, I don't know what else, I guess we can touch on the update from the SAC committee, if you want. We pretty well touched on that already. Like I said, right now, currently, there's 13 logs in. Be nice if we had 10 of those were gone, but anyways, I guess we have a meeting, I think it's the 19th, right? Is it? You're invited to that meeting, I think, are you not?
Jack, just for the viewers, can you just say what the SAC committee is?
Yeah,
Just
it's
because a lot
the-
of people probably won't know.
It's the Sitting Advisory Committee is what it's called, and what they do is, I didn't want to get this right, it was last year or the year before, I believe it was, Murphy, the year before,
Yeah.
M&R, they're responsible.
After the 2017 flood and the M&R took too much heat, they decided to
Yeah.
form this committee to take the heat.
Yeah, well, it's not really the committee. What they did is they actually, the Boncha River Management Plan, they used to manage it and police it. Now what they've done is they've downloaded the plan onto the power producers. So that means RPG, EGC, and Multistream.
Right,
So the three of us went into M&R and we spent whatever time there as they downloaded it. And now anything that has to be done has to go through the power producers. So when they put this amendment in, KH&R come up with the amendment for Boncha River Management, but it doesn't go to the ministry. It has to go through the power producers. They have to bless it, acknowledge it, and then they carry it through the M&R.
right. So just for our viewers, Killaloe, Haggerty and Richards,
Yeah.
KH&R, they're the facilitators of the watershed. RPG is Renfrew Power Generation. EGC is Eganville Generation Corporation, just for our,
Yeah.
if, I don't know if we have any viewers on this, but
So, but yeah, so right now, and what we do is instead of the power producers talking with everybody, what we've organized is what's called a SAC committee, Sitting Advisory Committee. It has, the power producers are on it, and there's a representative from each of the townships. I don't know, I forget who else is on it. There's about 10 or 12 people on it. The power producers themselves chair the meeting, but we really have no voting on it. It's the other people that do the voting and then tell us to bring it forward or not to bring it forward. And if they present something to us, we can say, well, I don't think it's going to go forward because of these following reasons, but they can still have the authority to overrule the power producers and just say, shove it through to the M&R. But if it doesn't have the blessing of the power producers, the chances are M&R is not going to run with it. So it works pretty well. It's we've had that meetings now. In the spring, of course, we meet more, but we tend to meet every 6 to 8 weeks. We just had our meeting here last week,
Yeah,
our first meeting we had, and then we just had an update, and that's the one we were talking about, the snow level. Because as of last year, RPG is now doing snow monitoring, but they just started late last year in the park.
okay.
So we don't have anything compared to, but going forward, it's going to give us good comparative data.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So he's the guy that goes in there, but the guy went in there, they go in once a month. And he went in there previous to the big storm, and at that time, I believe it was around 50 centimeters of snow already.
But I think the nice thing about this particular committee is prior, I felt like the power producers were working in their own silos. And so having that open communication, especially with you and Sean Cameron from RPG, I think that that's borne out a better result. And I know that these floods have occurred since, the development of this, but I think your communication and knowing what's going on with the other producers is a very important partnership, especially considering 17 and 19.
Well, we're trying to do what we can to manage the river, right?
That's right.
And that's all we're trying to do. And we have we manage the river, but we're still restricted by the Bones River management. So it doesn't mean we can go outside of it. We have to stay within
The parameters.
the high and low limits, right? It's like, even though Sean was given the blessing by the M&R to drop it, he couldn't drop it this year, right? Because he was still under the restrictions from the Department of Fisheries and
Promotions.
I mean, you know,
Yeah. the Department of
Ministry of
Fisheries.
Environment and yeah. So that's why we couldn't, we put together the new drawdown
Mm-hmm.
and I will share it with you guys at a later time when we're working on it right now. But that's going to, it's going to help us in the fall, right? There's no doubt about it. If you get rid of some of the water in the fall compared to it all going in the spring, the bottom line is going to help us with,
Yeah, the reason that
help us with revenue. And it also helps all the,
For sure.
all the people up there that less chance of flooding.
So the reason that KHR is the lead on this, because the dam is in KHR's jurisdiction, and they're the ones that take the heat if there's too much water, and if they just want to take the heat if there's not enough
Yeah,
water.
the
Yes.
Traymore Dam.
Traymore Dam.
Traymore
Traymore
Dam,
Dam.
that's right.
In KHR, yeah.
The dam.
So, yeah.
Thanks for the update.
You have any other questions on that or?
I know it's not on here, but did you want to ask any questions in the EDC meeting?
Yeah, no, I'm good. If
Yeah.
I get the reports, and stuff,
Okay,
that's very
perfect.
nice.
Yeah, you're gonna want to take some time and to develop the story because
Yeah.
there's quite a bit in the reports.
I think that's about it. Like I say, I'll work on budget, but if the
Perfect.
water keeps going, the numbers look good and the equipment is working. The equipment's working well, better than what it was before. So,
Great.
Like I said,
Yay.
Okay,
Yeah.
set the next meeting date.
So that would be
On their next council.
February.
No, the end of February, right?
February
18th,
18th.
February 18th.
February 18th.
February 18th it is.
February 18th.
Excellent.
Everybody's good with that?
Yeah.
Can I get a motion to adjourn? Brent?
February.
We're good hearing that.
Now we can quit till 5:30.
So I can get Connie just